Former Bosasa Chief Operations Officer Angelo Agrizzi continues his testimony at the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into state capture in Johannesburg.
So Agrizzi told the Zondo Commission today about money paid to former South African Airways board chair Dudu Myeni. He claims Myeni was handed 300,000 rand in cash monthly for former President Jacob Zuma's foundation, of which she was also the chairperson.
There would be numerous meetings coordinated at the Nkandla residence, and on one such occasion, I remember Gavin Watson was concerned that the President wasn't getting the necessary envelope, so to speak, the 300,000 rand. So I remember him telling me that we have to pack it, and he was going to deliver it directly to the President and make sure that he's been getting it from Myeni himself.
Earlier on, you said that you understood, I think from Mr. Gavin Watson, that the 300,000 rand per month that was being given to Ms. Dudu Myeni was for the foundation, the Jacob Zuma Educational Foundation. Now you are saying that at a certain stage, Mr. Gavin Watson was concerned that Mr. Zuma was not getting the full 300,000 rand. Was he supposed to be getting that money, or was the money supposed to be received by the foundation?
Chair, there's a couple of glaring questions that I had at the time. Surely, if it's for a foundation, you would do an EFT. One can call a bribe by many a word and sweeten it up and sugarcoat it. Maybe it was for a foundation, but why would you want it in cash?
Yeah, but I'm just wondering whether you are making your own conclusions or inferences based on what you saw, or whether it's what Mr. Gavin Watson said in conversations with you in terms of where exactly those monthly payments were destined.
Chair, he told me exactly what happened. We had a relationship where he'd tell me absolutely everything.
Yes, what did he say about these 300,000 rand?
He said he personally delivered it to Jacob Zuma, put the bag next to him, and asked him the question, does Dudu give you your money every month? And the answer was yes.
The media, Agrizzi has also told the Commission of Inquiry into state capture that the company paid 30,000 rand to journalists to write good stories about Bosasa.
Did Papa Leshabani mention any names to you in relation to the journalists who would be receiving the amount of 30,000 rand?
Yes, he did, Chair.
What names did he give you?
The one name he gave me was Ntuli, apparently working for the Times or the Star newspaper. The other one was a lady at the time that he was working very closely with called Pinky Kobane. And there was somebody that worked down in the Eastern Cape that helped him with I think it was a Sea Ark story or the prison story, and the person, he just referred to them as bongs.
B-O-N-G-S.
That's what I have.
Advocate Paul Pretorius also questioned Agrizzi on whether he had evidence confirming the payments from Bosasa to the journalists, which he replied by saying no.
Apart from the information given to you by Leshabani regarding the names of the persons for whom he required the 30,000 rand, do you have any other evidence to confirm or to question whether those three persons actually received the money?
I cannot confirm it, Chair. I just want to add something, Chair. there was another person, but that was employed on a strategic level, called Benedicta Dube.
Was she a journalist too?
I don't know. She was being dealt with Papa Leshabane. I don't know. I know that at one stage we paid well over R1 million for services.
More on today's events at the State Capture Inquiry. We're joined in the studio now by SABC political journalist Mzwandile Mbeje. Mzwandile, let's first just start with the connection with former President Jacob Zuma. How did Agrizzi make that connection? How Watson met the former president, or who introduced him to the former president?
Oh, basically, I think they were speaking about the importance of Dudu Myeni and Zuki, I think Madonga from the Eastern Cape. So I think she said those were the people who had connections to the former president, and those are the ones who then were able to hook them up, so to speak, so that they could then be able to do whatever they needed to do.
There was a point at which the commission chair was asking for clarifications on whether the money was meant for Dudu Myeni or the former president. What did Agrizzi have to say?
It did come out a bit confusing, because earlier when Agrizzi was talking about Dudu Myeni, basically that kind of 300,000 they're speaking about, so we were told that it had been meant for the Jacob Zuma Foundation. But then later on, when Gavin Watson had a meeting with the former president at Nkandla, Agrizzi said Watson took the 300,000 rand cash to Nkandla. Then that was a bit confusing to say, so was this money for the foundation or for the individual? So I think that's why the judge kept on asking. But I think what Agrizzi ended up saying was that as much as that money could have been said to have been meant for the foundation, so why was that money in cash? And then he basically says you can connect the dots insofar as what exactly that money was meant for. It was, I think the judge wanted to be very, very clear. So what was it meant for?
And he did seek clarity on other issues as well. I remember Advocate Pretorius asking Agrizzi to not, conjecture on what actually happened. And that also came about on the issue of the journalists. Who was paid? How much was paid?
Yes, I think, if you've been listening and following what Judge Zondo has been saying, I think he's very clear on the detail. So he wants the detail. He doesn't want to leave things up to just thinking what could he possibly have said. But then when it came to the issue of journalists, I think Agrizzi basically mentioned Pinky Khwabane, and then the other two, for example, so he wasn't able to say correctly. I mean, he was saying Mr. Nduli, and then he was not even sure whether he was working for Times or the Star, and then he said there was someone else in the Eastern Cape, Miss Bongs. So those are the three people who we know were paid that 30,000. But then there was the issue of consultancy work, which was done by, I think, the late Benedicta Dube, and of course, Stephen Hoffer. Yes. Those are the people. I mean, we saw the statement from Stephen basically saying, well, he actually did do the work, but he was doing the honest work. So those were some
Just a quick one, was there then any clarity on Adrian Basson?
Basically, what the issue that transpired around Adrian Basson is that I think Agrizzi, because they were journalists, he felt they were writing very badly about Bosasa. And then people who were doing consultancy work were even bought SIM cards so that they could write bad about people like Adrian Basson. That is why Ferial Hafechi, according to Agrizzi, called Agrizzi to say, Adrian is complaining because people are attacking him, are phoning him, day in and day out, trying to threaten him. So why? Because Adrian Basson, remember, was one of those journalists who was writing non-stop about Bosasa.
Well, thank you very much, Mzwandile Mbeje, senior political reporter. Francis, is over to you.